do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button, guys, if you're new to the channel and if you enjoyed this video. So, yo, I woke up this morning, right? And, I went on the Boxing Voice and was watching their stream. Their live stream where they talk boxing. Now, by the way, the Boxing Voice, I like watching the Boxing Voice streams because, like, a lot of times they get guests on their shows, like, these important people from the world of boxing. Anyway, I was watching it, and, like, as I'm watching it, it made me realize just how much Deontay Wilder fanboys are afraid of watching Deontay Wilder face Anthony Joshua. Like, these dudes are petrified just like Wilder. Like, this dude was, and by the way, I normally disagree with Nez, but when it came to this podcast, I was agreeing with him. Like, this dude called in, right? And he was, like, pissed off at Nez. He was pissed off at Nez because he's like, yo, he was basically explaining that Wilder shouldn't take this $120 million DAZN deal. He shouldn't take it because if he takes it, he's going to give Eddie Hearn all the power. And he was so emotional. Like, he was so pissed off about it. Now, if he signs with DAZN and he gives Eddie Hearn, and he signs that contract, he going to give Eddie Hearn the power. He going to give Eddie Hearn the power. You want that, Nez? You want that? And Nez is a guy who normally I don't agree with when it comes to Wilder because he's like a Wilder. I'm not gonna call him a Wilder fanboy, but he is a Wilder fan. But he was saying, "Listen, I want Wilder to pick I want Wilder to go where the money is. I want this fight just like you want this fight with Joshua versus Wilder. I want Wilder to go for the money." And he said, "Showtime isn't offering Deontay Wilder $120 million to face Anthony Joshua. Showtime isn't offering him that. So I'm going to be advising Deontay Wilder to go over to DAZN because that's who's giving him the most money. So that's the smart thing to do, to sign over to DAZN. And then obviously we could get the big fights, right? But because he was trying to explain this to this idiot of a fan who called in to the show because this guy who sounded like a fucking LDBC fanboy. This is because the way he was explaining himself, the guy who called in, he sounded just like all those LDBC channels who are so emotional. A lot of these LDBC channels are emotional, and they're all about like, oh, we can't give Eddie Hearn the power. We can't give Eddie Hearn the power. So he sounded just like that. I guarantee you, this man is signed to every LDBC channel out there. Because that just lets me know these dudes don't want to see that fight. See, that's the difference between Anthony Joshua fans and Deontay Wilder fans. Anthony Joshua fans, we want to see Deontay Wilder face Anthony Joshua. I'm not afraid to see Anthony Joshua fight Deontay Wilder. I'm not afraid of that because I'm a boxing fan. I want to see these two fight. I'm not trying to protect Anthony Joshua. You never see me make videos saying Anthony Joshua should not fight Deontay Wilder because I'm a boxing fan. I want to see these two fight. But when it comes to these Deontay Wilder fans, they don't seem to care if Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder never fight. They just go around calling Anthony Joshua a coward, and they seem to want to protect Wilder. Oh, Wilder shouldn't take that DAZN deal. Because, he'll give Eddie Hearn all the favors. Like, what are you talking about? As a boxing fan, you should just want to fucking see these two guys square the fuck off. What are you talking about? He's going to give Wilder all the edge. I mean, he's going to give Eddie Hearn the edge. He's going to give him all the power. What type of stupid shit is that? We just want to see the fight. Don't you just want to see the fight between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua? These dudes, all these Deontay Wilder fanboys care about is how much money Wilder's gonna get. How much money Wilder's gonna get. Nah, why should he get $120 million when this is a $535 billion fight? This is a $535 billion fight. He should be signing with another network. Ain't nobody offering Deontay Wilder more than DAZN. If Deontay Wilder, listen, later on today, it's early in the morning for me right now, guys, but later on today, this afternoon, it's Deontay Wilder will be announcing what he's going to do in his career. I'm telling you right now, if Deontay Wilder announces later on today that he's going to be just a free agent and he'll be fighting on Showtime, PBC, Fox, and he rejects the DAZN deal, but he doesn't tell you how much he's actually being offered, how much the deal is over in Showtime. Like, say he says, oh, I was offered something by Showtime, Fox, PBC, but he doesn't tell you, he doesn't go into detail how much it was. Then that right there is letting you know that he is not getting nowhere near as much as he would have received by DAZN. That's why I agreed with this Ness comment. Ness said, Showtime isn't giving Deontay Wilder more than $120 million. And that's where he should go with DAZN, because that's where the money is. And that's where I agree with. Who gives a fuck about this? So, these people have this mentality. Wilder is going to give Eddie Hearn the power if he signs with DAZN. He's not giving no one power. He's just, that's the best move for him financially, and for us as boxing fans. And for his legacy purposes for him as well, because he's been claiming that he wants to fight with Deontay Wilder, with Anthony Joshua being disputed. This is his chance. So if he rejects DAZN to fight on Showtime for $1.2 million against Dominic Brazil, and for the rest of his career with those fucking $2.5 million checks, that just goes to show you that he's dumb. He's really dumb. Because who the fuck rejects $100 million for 3 fights for $5 million for 3 fights? Who the fuck does that? Because he'll be getting paid $5 million for 3 fights in Showtime, fighting on PBC Fox, if he, as opposed to $100 million if he fought on DAZN. But this just lets. I always knew Wilder was not too bright in the head. He's a little slow. He's slow, but maybe he's just stuck in that poor mentality. I think he's content with his life. He's content with making the amount of money he makes. Anyway, this it's funny because one of my subscribers was like, yo, the thing is, one thing I noticed is, and shout out to that subscriber if you're watching this video. I totally forgot your name. I'm sorry, but you probably know I'm talking about you. You're like, listen, one thing I noticed is when it comes to Anthony Joshua fans, they seem to really want to make Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. They really want this fight to happen. But when it comes to Deontay Wilder fans, they don't seem like they're too interested. Like, they don't care if Wilder fights Anthony Joshua, because they're not pushing it. If they see Deontay Wilder duck Anthony Joshua, they don't get pissed off about that. They're not pushing it. They're like, all right, Wilder could do his thing. But when it comes to Joshua fans, these guys are pushing it, right? If Anthony Joshua came out tomorrow and said, I never want to fight Wilder, I will be critiquing this man. I'll be calling him all types of names, because I would perceive that as a coward move if he were to duck him. But when it comes to these Wilder fans, if Wilder came out and said that he was never going to fight Joshua, they wouldn't critique him. And that's the difference. And it's so true what that subscriber says. Shout out to that subscriber, is because it's true. Wilder fans want to see Joshua versus Wilder. They're not afraid of the outcome. They want to see it because they're hardcore boxing fans. They're real boxing fans. But when it comes to Wilder fans, a lot of these dudes don't seem to care. They don't seem to care if the fight happens. Who cares if it happens in 5 years? It's all about Wilder getting that money. They just care. They care more about how much money Wilder makes. Why he gonna fight with DAZN? He could make $500 million in another network. No one's gonna pay him that much in another network, homie. Anyway, guys, that's all to say. Thanks for watching. I know I was screaming in the mic. I'm sorry. Got a little carried away there, but I'm hyped up, man. I want to see what Wilder's gonna say later on today. Anyway, guys, I'll make videos later on today because especially after the announcement. Let's see what Queen Shante got to say. I'm out. Subscribe.